What's up everyone? In today's video we would like to go over the comparison of living in a house to an RV, the pros and cons and our opinion. So follow us now.
Taking my chances along with my dreams.
In this video, I want to share with you, in my opinion, the pros and cons between living in a house and living in an RV, because we have done both and we can compare them now. So one of the pros, and this is in no particular order, one of the pros, the biggest pros to a house is having a home base and the security and the stability when we come back, into Florida, that we have a place to come to, especially in the winter because it's hard to get parks. We have shared that before, and we used to book a year in advance to get the park that we stay into in December and January. So we were toying with the idea over the years that we needed a home base, somewhere to park our RV. This home base works perfect for us because we have a house and an RV pad. So when we get our new RV, we can park it right next to our house as well. When we're traveling out to the country, the RV will be here. So that's one of the pros to having a house, is the security of a home base and more space. Yes, more space for more clothes. And although I don't want to, not be a minimalist anymore and like hoard up stuff, I do like clothes and I like to change a lot, and I used to keep some of my stuff in storage and like my Christmas decorations, things like that, so I can keep them right here in the house now. So that's definitely a pro to having a house, is more space. Having more space and being able to personalize this house, and make it just the way we want. We have more space to decorate and do stuff like that. So those are the pros to having a house. Now, of course, the cons to having a house is it comes with more expenses. But we did get a house into a community where we don't have to take care of the grounds. I mean, we will pay a rental fee, but the grounds are taken care of. So I'm still trying to have minimal work and minimal responsibilities. So that's why we got a small house. So it's kind of like a happy medium for us between an RV and like buying a traditional big home again, where in my opinion I don't ever want to go back to a big house to have all the taxes and the lawn and the worry and all those things. I'm like so over that part. So yeah, the con is like more expenses to having a house versus the RV. And one of the cons to having a house is that it doesn't move. We can't travel with it. We'll be staying put more, staying in one place more. But we will be traveling. We'll only be living here, part-time, especially in the winter. And we'll be traveling outside of the country and probably RVing into the summer. I can't find as many good things about the house as I can find about the RV. I have a much longer list, for the things, all my pros about an RV. So yeah, that's definitely an indication there that I much prefer the RV. But one thing, I love the nature with the RV and going to nature parks, but one thing I like about this house is that we have the nature right behind us. We are right backed up to a lake, and I love this because I feel like I'm still RVing with the nature right next to me all the time. So that's definitely a pro to this house, is being backed up to this nature park. And this house, the location was everything for us as well. It's very close to family and friends. It's also close to stores and restaurants. Sometimes when you're RVing, you're far away from stores, you have to stock up. And not every house is close to, the city area, but this is backed up to the nature area, but it's also right in the middle of the city, so we're minutes away from stores and restaurants. So that's the pro to this house. But I can't find as many things about the house that I like as much as I like about an RV. So I guess that just makes me a traveler, and I need to remain a full-time traveler, even if it's not in an RV. I have loved traveling my whole life, and when I think about a house, it's so stationary. I definitely don't associate it with traveling. And here are the pros and cons to living in an RV. Now that we have lived in a house, lived in an RV, we're back into a house, we can clearly make these comparisons. Now, the biggest benefit, the biggest pro to living in an RV is that the RV moves. That's the one thing. When we moved in this little house, my first thought was like, this can't move. I will have the same view every day. So the freedom to move around in an RV is, I mean, that is like nothing else. It's absolutely amazing. If you are an RVer, you will know this feeling, because now sometimes we get tired of moving around a lot, but when we sit in one place, now we get like antsy, you know, to move and get a different view. So one of the biggest pros to living in an RV is the freedom and ability to move around. Now, granted, one of the cons is that there's less space, but the beauty to that is you become a minimalist, and that is not a bad thing, because truly we don't really need so much stuff. We discovered that we didn't need so much stuff. Even the stuff we had in the RV, we only used about half of it. The clothes I took along, I only used about half the amount of clothes. So if you think about it, you really don't need that much stuff in life. So yes, you have less space, but do you really need that much stuff? So I feel that being a minimalist is not a con. I think it's a pro for sure. Now, also cost. It's less expensive. RV life is less expensive because you don't have the burden of that house that you left behind, and the property tax, and usually the mortgage payment, and the upkeep, and the yard work, and all those things you don't have. So it's less expense. That's definitely a pro to living in an RV life. And I don't just mean living in an RV, I mean traveling in an RV. You know, people said to us, how can you afford to travel all the time? Because we traded in our house and those expenses, and that money we use to travel all the time. And you can decide how much you want to spend based on places you stay into. You can pick high-end RV parks, you can pick low-end. We had a membership with 1,000 Trails, so we tried to keep it in balance. And you know, you can do as much sightseeing. You've heard me say before, like the free places are like the best places, because like the national park, we have a national park lifetime membership. Those are the most amazing places in this country. I mean, it's like none other visiting those national parks. So yes, it was less expensive for us to live and travel full-time in an RV than having a sticks and bricks traditional house. So that's one of the pros, is less expensive living in an RV for us, for sure. One of the big pros for me is the community life in RV parks. You know, I'm very much a people person, a social butterfly. I love to walk around, meet new people, you know, hear their stories. So the community life into the RV park, the way people look out for you, you know, if they see you, you know, struggling with something around the RV, they're there to help you right away. Sometimes in neighborhoods, you don't even know your neighbors, you know, you don't even see them, and you don't have that community feel and that community life like living in an RV and an RV parks. And we have stayed into our almost 5 years, over 150 RV parks across the country. We have met so many amazing people, and we just absolutely love the community feel of, you know, RV living and RV parks. And guess what? We bought our little house in a community, in an RV park. So we still have, although we have a house, we still have that community feel and that community life. So we carried over some of the pros from RV life into our little house life. So one of the big pros for me is having less to take care of, because you're a slave to your house most of your life. You work during the week, and at least this is for me. On weekends you spend hours cleaning a house and a yard and a pool and taking care of all these things. So when I moved into the RV, oh my word, like cleaning into like a half an hour. If we had a plan on Saturday morning, I was in and out of this RV with my vacuum and my mopping. Come check this. Come check this. I mean, all this polishing all this furniture did take some time, because there's a lot of wood in here. So polishing the wood took some time. But on the whole, on a Saturday, in 30 minutes, I could have these bathrooms cleaned and kept my kitchen clean every night. And I could be in and out. So that was a big pro for me, is having so little to take care of into the RV. That was like super awesome for me. So one of the cons is limited space, but then you become a minimalist, right? Because you don't need that much stuff. But sometimes, when I wanted to buy something, I always thought, oh yeah, that's not RV friendly. So that's why we collected magnets. Because early on, when we wanted to buy souvenirs, we realized we could not buy too many souvenirs because we didn't have the place to put it. And one of the cons in an RV is you have to be organized, because otherwise it will drive you, at least it would drive me bonkers. I have to have everything in a spot where I can find everything. I've been that way my whole life. I don't like to waste time, and I do not want to waste time looking for something, because if I put it here, I know that I can find it right there, and I never have to waste that time looking for it. So yeah, one of the cons is limited space into an RV. Another con is, if you're an RVer, is the breakdown and the setup every time you travel to a new RV park. And if you have an RV, that's what you want to do, right? You want to travel, explore new places. So what I did to make this a little bit easier is, when we would go on long road trips for months, if we're parked, I would take all my stuff out. But if we would just like staying like for a few nights, or even for a week or two, and short trips, short stops into parks, but on a long road trip, I would pack away a lot of my stuff and I would not take it out. So when we put slides in and out, there would not be much to move. Another thing that I did to make it easier was I Velcroed all my stuff down. If you saw my videos in the past, I had from my coffee maker to my knives and forks, my utensils, all the stuff on the counter, I had Velcro down. Even like my knickknacks, my orchid that always sat here, it was Velcro down. I tried to make breaking down and setting up as short as possible. So when we threw our anchor out, and my honey opened these slides and he went out and hooked up the electric, the water, and the sewer, I had minimal stuff to take, to put out, and we just, tried to keep it as simple as possible. 15-20 minutes, we were ready to either hit the road and go exploring, or have happy hour at the campsite. So although that's the con to RV life, the setting up and breaking down, you can make it, easier for yourself. So it's different for everyone else. Now another con is like maintenance and repairs, because every year we would take our RV into an RV repair shop. We would do oil change, anything along the way that needed to be fixed, like a rubber seal, or we would just get an overhaul and make sure everything always worked good. And you have things that happen along the way. We had to have 2 new ACs put in, like last year or the year before. We put in a new stove, but it's just like a house, right? You have these things in a house. So, but you can have unexpected maintenance along the way, because your house does move. Now, luckily, let me knock on wood, and there's a lot of wood in here. Luckily that we drove safely across this country for 4.5 years without ever having a breakdown or anything of that sort. And I believe it's because we did a maintenance. all about maintenance, and every year we did a maintenance when we came back to our home base in Port St. Lucie. So we were very fortunate that we never had any kind of breakdown. We made sure we had new tires, you know, we had brakes checked, we had all these things checked all the time so that we could safely travel and never have to worry about, you know, sudden maintenance or a sudden breakdown or something. So that's a tip there, you know, keep up onto your maintenance so you won't have any unexpected like breakdowns or anything like that. Now also something a pro can be weather challenges, but this you have no matter where you are, right? If you're in your stationary house or if you're RVing. But this can be a con or it can be a pro as well, because the one thing with an RV is that if you don't like the weather, you can leave and chase different weather. So we left because of a hurricane 2 years ago, I think it was. We were on to the West Coast when I think it was Ian that was coming, and I'm so grateful that we had an opportunity to get in our RV and leave. We came straight across to the East Coast. We stayed into Fort Pierce and we got some rocking and rolling, but as you know, the West Coast got hit so bad, and we were so grateful that we were able to take our RV and leave. So sometimes we're in places and weather is crappy and we have to deal with it, but mostly we take our RV and we leave. And last summer 2024, you know, we left Florida for the entire summer and we chased cooler weather up to Michigan, across the Niagara, through Maine and down the East Coast. We got back when the weather in Florida was cooler. So this for me is more like a pro than a con, because we can chase better weather into our RV. So I think that's really a pro, not a con. So sometimes another con can be that you're in an RV park and you don't have full hookup and you really want to stay in this place, but maybe you don't have sewer or you don't have water. Now you definitely have to plan ahead. We have big tanks, so we can fill our fresh water tank and, you know, last for a week. Our gray water can last for a week. Our black tank, we can stay at least for a week with all these tanks. But sometimes if you're in a place for a few weeks that you really want to stay, you might have to move your RV to the dump station and move it back, things like that, and that can be a little bit of a pain. But we always try to plan ahead around that, so it hasn't been an issue for us. We don't boondock, but I know, you know, sometimes people RVing, you know, they park in places where they're not supposed to park. We have never had that happen to us, but we know that sometimes people have had to move their RVs in the middle of the night because they were parking someplace where they weren't supposed to park. So that would definitely be a con, that you would have to move your house in the middle of the night. But for the most part, RV life for me was filled with pros and very few cons. And one of the big pros to RV life is being so close to nature, because you can park up in the mountains, you can park at the beach, you can park at the river, streams, lakes. We have parked in all these places, walking up to all these views, and we couldn't have done this in a traditional house. So this is one of the big pros to RV life, is being close to nature. And if you know me, I love nature. I come from a little nature island and I love just being in nature. So this is one of the biggest pros to RV life. If you followed my channel in the last 4 years, we have over 300 videos. You will see the amazing places we have, you know, been able to visit. And this is not something that we would have done and, you know, just taking a trip by plane or something like that. The experiences along the way, oh my word, I could be talking for days. You know, I think one of the biggest memory, something that will stick in my head forever, is that we found this place up in North Montana because we couldn't find a park. And as we were traveling across from Washington, we found this place in North Montana for a few nights. And it was close to, it was right by a mine. The mountain was a mine. It used to be a gold mine, and now it was a radon mine. I didn't know anything about this, but I went up to check it out. And in this RV park, I met a family of Mennonites. I didn't know anything about Mennonites before, but they explained me, you know, their whole story. And so I was intrigued by this family. And I went into the mine just to check it out. The lady who owned the mine said, oh, just go in and see what it's all about. And I went in and I was sitting with my feet into the water because it's a healing mine. People go there for healing. And these Mennonites, they were all locked, holding hands and singing this hymn. And it was such an emotional moment for me. It was a memory that I came home and I was trying to tell Charles, and I was just crying so much I couldn't even tell him. And it wasn't sad. It was just a feeling, a memory that I will never forget. These are like moments I would not have experienced if it wasn't for RV life and the million other memories that we have. And thankfully for this YouTube channel, I was able to document these memories because we are not going to RV for a little bit until we buy our next RV, at least for a year, because we're going to be traveling internationally. But these RV moments and memories were absolutely amazing. So I wanted to share this as I compare with you, like living in a house compared to living in an RV. So if you have done both, drop us a comment and let us know how you feel about living in a house or living in an RV. And this, my friends, concludes this video today. And don't forget, if you have time, jump over during the week and check out some of our other videos. I actually have a video of that trip into the mine into Montana, that amazing experience that I'll always remember. Share this video with a friend if you want to share what comparison. If you know somebody that's on the fence with going to live in an RV, this way they can compare it. Give us a thumbs up, hit that notification bell so that you will not miss our weekly videos. And I will see you next week.